Our reaction is that Spain is a reliable partner within NATO, and we're fulfilling our obligations with NATO. We are deploying military capabilities and also soldiers at the eastern flank of Europe. So therefore, no worries at all.
And have you seen?
I would say that it would be important if European countries, European allies, we can share our thoughts and information before starting wars, as the one that we are now suffering in the Middle East, because this part of the world is close by Europe, and we need also to be aware and to have an opinion on this. And from my point of view, this war is illegal, is a big mistake, and I hope that in the near future we can face a de-escalation and of course a way out thanks to diplomacy and not thanks to wars.
One final point I'd like to raise. You are aware that last Tuesday, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, José Manuel Álvarez, at the Foreign Affairs Council, proposed the suspension of the association agreement between the European Union and Israel. Yesterday, I defended that position because something that is truly delegitimizing us, not only externally but also internally within our own societies, is this blatant double standard, this dual, this inconsistent measure that Europe is currently applying in Ukraine and in the Middle East. We must remember that Article 2 of the EU-Israel Association Agreement calls for respecting international and humanitarian law, and clearly neither in Lebanon, nor in the West Bank, nor in Gaza, Israel is respecting it. And that must also lead us to that reflection and to that action. For it is unacceptable that we stand united, as we do, providing the support we ought to, for a people currently facing an attempted invasion and whose territorial integrity is being challenged, and yet in the Middle East we do not do the same, especially when we are speaking of Lebanon, and we are speaking of Palestine, of Gaza, and of the West Bank. This is the argument I also put forward yesterday. Unfortunately, there are governments in favor and other governments against. There is no unity on this matter, and the result of all this leads to a weakening of the European Union's positions, impacting our legitimacy, at least politically, and our credibility when defending causes as just as Ukraine's. Europe is a project of peace. It is a multilateral project. It is we who must defend that international order, that respect for international law, because if we don't, the law of the strongest, which is what we are seeing, leads us to a weaker world, much more insecure and more uncertain. And in the end, this isn't free, neither in terms of lives, nor in refugee displacements, nor of course in the economic consequences that, unfortunately, all governments today are having to face as a result of unilateral and illegal decisions taken by third countries. Well, no, we don't work based on emails. We work on official documents and the positions adopted, in this specific case, by the United States government. The position of the Spanish government is absolutely clear. It's absolute collaboration with our allies, but always within the framework of international legality. Spain will always defend two things. First, the general interest of our country, and secondly, the fulfillment of our responsibilities, which we fully guarantee as good allies that we are of NATO. In fact, we have deployed military forces in the east of Europe to defend territorial integrity against the Russian threat. And of course, we are supporting Ukraine, also utilizing NATO instruments to finance the acquisition of weaponry and military capabilities for Ukraine. Well, we had this debate last year precisely regarding the 5%. Spain stated that the capabilities NATO was requesting from us could be met with 2.1% of our gross domestic product. And that is precisely what we have accomplished this year. For the very first time since, I recall it was 2014, when this particular agreement was signed with the prior administration at the NATO summit held in Wales, we have successfully managed to reach that 2.1%. So, from our point of view, there is no debate. What I mean is, we fulfill our obligations. We are a loyal partner. We are committed, deployed in many of these areas that have been requested by the countries themselves, and therefore we have absolute peace of mind.
In a world flooded with noise, Hook Global delivers clarity. Your video-first destination for U.S. coverage, breaking news.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran.
Global development and the stories shaping power, politics, and geopolitics. Fast, focused, fact-driven.
Did you read those new files?
No.
From Donald Trump shakeups
The tariffs will be not a full reciprocal.
and Capitol Hill showdowns,
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath.
Yes, Mr. President, quake in your boots because I will tell you the truth. You will be impeached.
to global warfare.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर आतंक के खिलाफ भारत की नीति है.
Diplomacy, elections, and shifting power dynamics.
וביחס למה שנעשה בהמשך דין, יש לנו תוכנית סדורה עם הרבה הפתעות. לערער את המשטר, לאפשר שינוי.
Hook Global brings you sharp coverage, deep dive explainers, and expert-backed analysis 24/7.
ایران شاید زخمی شود اما هرگز زانو نمیزند. دشمنان این ملت به ویژه آمریکای جنایتکار و رژیم منحوس صهیونیستی را
For analysts, policymakers, globally curious minds.
Free the hostages now. If you do, you will live. If you don't, Israel will hunt you down.
Hook Global cuts through the chaos of international conflicts, economic tremors, or strategic global moves.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
We cut through the chaos and deliver context that matters. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead, get hooked on what matters.